Back by popular demand. No, there was no actual demand. But most of you seem to like these things. Now 53, it's out already. So we have to talk about it. We have to talk about the 10 worst songs. It's become kind of a thing. So we have to do it. It's coming out. I've heard it, unfortunately. So I have a list here, and the first thing I'm going to say to preface this list is that there's a lot of names that I already recognize. And it just tells me that these artists make shit. Like, everything that they make seems to be shit. Every single that is released is shit. And people like it, and I don't know why. But there are some new names on here, names that I will probably never see again, names you will never hear again, names that this will be the only moment in which they are uttered within your ears. But they're on the list because they're on the album, and the album is something I heard, and this is the top 10 worst songs on Now 53. Second preface, Selena Gomez is not on this list, nor is Ariana Grande. I can't believe I'm saying that about Selena Gomez, but Grande, let's face it, guys, we know this isn't going to happen. Not again. So number 10, we have Danny Mercer with Who Are You Loving Now? The reason why this is on the list is pretty simple. It sounds innocent enough. It actually sounds as though they're trying to catapult off the success of Rude by Magic. Yeah, you probably heard that song one too many times over the summer. It's actually a thing in some cultures. And by cultures, I mean on Tumblr. But at any rate, this song almost feels like it's trying to use that same reggae idea and try to incorporate it into a pop song, similar to what Rude is in its purest form by Magic. But it falls flat. The whole reggae idea concept breaks down very quickly after the introduction, and it's instead a song that quickly exposes itself just to be another pointless pop meandering. Sorry, Danny. This just isn't one that really works with the same punch and zip as Rude by Magic did. Magic had a lot of great conceptual ideas with that track. It was very simple. It was one that kind of showcased the simplicity of reggae and didn't need to go that much further with it in order to really create a hooky and great track, one that sticks in your head. Who Are You Loving Now doesn't stick in your head. Who Are You Now is just trying to catapult off the success of reggae pop such as Rude, and Danny Mercer has failed. Number 9, we have Uncover by Zara Larsson. Who? Somebody named Zara, you're not going to make it very far. Uncover is just another pop, teenage, rambling piece of shit. It sounds as though they're trying to uncover some sort of secret, and I think that's the theme. This is on that whole little idea where they expose coming artists. The last couple of tracks on each Now, they do this. They expose coming artists, artists that are rising, they're heat-seeking, they're really causing some waves, supposedly. This song reminds me a lot of a track that we talked about last time, and I'm trying to remember who it even was. It was Lizzie McGuire chick, who decided that she was going to come back and write a really boring song that sounds like she was still a Disney kid. This song reminds me of that, only I don't know if Zara Larsson is a Disney kid, nor do I really give two flying fucking shits. It's just a really crappy basic track that incorporates simplistic elements, does not really go very much in the creative department with the wordplay, the word styling, lyricism, or even musical concept. This is one that really whitewashes all of the generic polls that are available, and does so with a pleasant, very clear coat. Number 8, we have Fancy Reagan with Knock Me Out. I don't know if I have to say much aside from Fancy Reagan. It's another exposing this artist. And it's another pile of crap. I don't need to say very much more about this song, principally because you'll never hear of these guys. They'll never be within earshot again. And if they are, then God fucking help us all. It sounds as though, once again, we may be on the cusp of music trying to showcase its cyclical nature and give us another batch of crap. So instead of Justin Bieber crap, we got One Direction crap. Instead of One Direction crap, we got 5 Seconds of Summer crap. Maybe instead of 5 Seconds of Summer crap, we're going to get Fancy Reagan crap. I, God for fucking sake, hope not. Speaking of teenage boy bands, we have Walk the Moon with Shut Up and Dance. This is what happens if a boy band, similar to some of the names that I just mentioned, decided to kind of go pop punk, but not really go pop punk because they're more just a pop rock group. It's a song that attempts to be catchy enough, but it's one that really just feels like it's cusping the borderline of where kind of Maroon 5 would be back whenever they first came out, only a lot simpler and without kind of the zest that Maroon 5 possessed whenever they first came out. They didn't have a very Maroon 5 had a very distinct sound whenever they first materialized in the early part of the 2000s, and really captivated a lot of people, whereas with Walk the Moon, this song does not feel like it has that same zip. Shut Up and Dance is a nice enough idea, it's a nice enough core concept, and you can really transform that into a nice little song, because Walk the Moon certainly attempted to do so. It's just not something that works very well. It's one where the idea itself could have been catapulted in a different way, and instead of it really being kind of like a dance pop number, which would have been typical by itself and probably would have still ended up on this list, they tried to do a little bit of a rock edge to it, which reminded me a lot more of that stupid song, and I'm trying to remember who the hell even was. The one that had the lyrics about Zach Galifianakis having a tattoo with Zach Galifianakis on it or something like that. Hot Chile Ray, yeah, reminds me a little bit of them in the fact that it just has just kind of a pointless meandering to it. It just doesn't really feel like it has very much of anything to offer. They tried, but they're on the list. That brings us to everybody's favorite piece of shit. Number 6, Iggy Azalea featuring M0, I'm assuming, Beg For It. The very concept of this is ridiculous. Beg for it. Make you beg for it. I'm going to make you beg for it. Iggy is taking the concept and the idea of feminine empowerment in some of her music, and has completely destroyed the idea altogether. Meghan Trainor has tried for a little bit of feminine empowerment, fat person empowerment, but she's a skinny bitch that doesn't know the first thing about power, because every one of her songs sounds the fucking same. We're going to be talking about that later, which means she's obviously being manipulated. So she has no power, and she's not fat anymore, so none of her songs mean shit. Iggy Azalea is in the same boat. Iggy has recently been exposed as being completely and totally unable to freestyle. Kind of important in the rap game. It's also been exposed that Iggy Azalea is just kind of trash as a human being, considering all of the different people she's been able to incite feuds with, including Snoop Dogg. I know we talked about that in the last video, but it's still something that blows my fucking mind. How the fuck can you get Snoop Dogg, who has embraced this inner peace, and became Snoop Lion, growl, and then became Snoop Dogg Wolf again, and then Snoop Lion, growl, and then Snoop Dogg Wolf, Snoop Doggy Dog. How? How can you make that happen? And then you want to talk shit about Eminem, and then you have a song called Beg For It, which is terrible. It's awful. Her rhyming will never get better. I am convinced now. I should stop talking about Iggy Azalea because she will never improve. Second album, there will be no growth. In fact, it'll become worse. She'll all of a sudden decide she wants to be a diva and sing, which will be worse than her rhyming. Wow. Just wow. Number 5, Jason Derulo, Trumpets. This song has been big. This song, actually, I'm surprised was not on 52, but they probably need to put a Katy fucking Perry song on there, because there's not one on this one, so maybe that's why it's here. Trumpets is a idea that will actually go together well with another song on this list, which is a couple of steps higher because of other reasons, where we have a gentleman who, whenever his lady friend, his woman of the evening, starts to remove her clothing, hears a symphony in his mind. He's hearing trumpets playing, he's hearing drums, he's hearing bass, it's wonderful. Whenever someone strips in front of me, I'm thinking to myself, I'm getting fucking laid. Awesome. That's what 99.99999% of the population is thinking, apparently, aside from Jason Derulo, who decides to wax fucking philosophical and poetic about it, and comparing it to music. Well, I shouldn't say Jason Derulo. I should say whoever wrote this song for him, that he sang. Hopefully he looked at this and said, this is fucking ridiculous, and the person that wrote it said, what do you mean? This is going to sell you records. And he was like, oh, well, fuck it, let's do it. Someone get me this track. Well, it's going to make him money. He's going to sell records, because people like it. I don't know why. It's got a very simple hook, very simple construction. Jason Derulo was the What You Say guy back in 2010. I just don't know what to say about him. I really don't. Not anymore. Number 4, Hey look, it's Maroon 5 with the song Animals. What has happened? What has happened to Maroon 5? What has happened to this band? What has occurred? What major catastrophic event in the lives of Maroon 5 has occurred to cause them to go from songs about Jane to 5, to what this album has become? Both of the songs that have been on Nows have ended up on lists, because they're both terrible. And for some strange reason, I don't know why, it sounds like they're auto-tuning him. It sounds like they're auto-tuning Adam Levine. He has a great natural voice. You don't need to do that. However, it's also exposing the fact that within their songwriting, they feel the need for him to use his annoying high range, which is very, very high-pitched and shrill. Almost exclusively. And it hurts, because This Love did not need that. And that's why This Love was a huge smash. Other songs of theirs, within the years, have not required that. And that's the reason why those songs are well respected. These are songs that will be very, very quickly forgotten about. Animals is just another of such said tracks. And they have somehow gone from a pop rock that is closer leaning toward being a rock band, a great rock group, to just being straight up pop. There's nothing about this band anymore, Maroon 5, that feels like a rock band. They feel as though they are trying to become a electro-pop band at times. Either that or just diving right into the pop department. It's like Adam Levine became a judge on whatever the fuck show he was and just decided, well, this is a lot fucking easier. And if that's the case, and I was a member of Maroon 5, I'd stay a member of Maroon 5 because I'd be making bank for doing jack shit. God damn it! I think I figured out the formula. Number 3, Usher and Juicy J, I Don't Mind. This is a song by Usher with Juicy J, where he's basically telling a girl, it's okay that you're a stripper, it's okay that you have to take off your clothes, it's okay that you're a stripper so long as you're coming home with me. And as long as you're coming home tonight, as long as you are coming home to me every single night, I don't give a fuck what you do. Take off your clothes, make your money. Make your money, honey, take off them clothes. Show them titties to all those men. But if you're coming home to me, don't give a fuck. You know what? Not gonna lie, not a terrible message. Not a terrible message. We should really respect some of these people. These people need to be respected because, by and large, they're not. These are individuals that don't get very much respect unless you are a gawking male who wants to see some titties. And then they are respected by throwing dollar bills, and they put them in their G-string straps or whatever they do, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been to a strip club. And at the same time, if they don't do what they want, or if they refuse to do whatever, blah, 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 I don't know, then they get mad at these people. These people are performers, they're human beings, come on. Great message, completely fucked up by Usher. Completely fucked up by Usher. First off, you're not Usher, or whatever the hell you said at the beginning of this song. You're not. You really aren't. Second off, this song really doesn't need to be sung. This is something that could be a blog post. This is something that could be on Tumblr. This is something that you could maybe announce to the world via a YouTube video. You should just, have a little thing in front of you saying, strippers need love too. Please be kind to these people. My girl's a stripper, and so long as she's coming home with me, I really don't care that she's a stripper. I think it's fantastic. She's making money. She's getting hers. She's doing what she needs to do. That's all you need to do. This does not need to be sung. This does not need to be consumed. People don't need to like this. Why? Why do you like this if you like this? Why? Because it has a good hook? No, it doesn't. Because Juicy J's on it? He was also on a Katy Perry song, fucker, and he ruined that shit too. Juicy J is so far away from his days in 3-6 Mafia, it's not even funny. Juicy J's street representation, his street rep, his street cred, everything about him is subterranean right now. Usher, please stop making music. You discovered Bieber. Okay? That was mistake number 1. Okay? We've let a lot of shit slide. Now it fucking counts. We're beyond 3 strikes. We're getting to like 3 innings in and you haven't hit a single fucking ball. Maybe to some people you have, but they're dumb. Number 2, One Direction, Steal My Girl. I'm going to admit something to you. This song deceives the world. This song deceives the world by sounding, at first, to some, and probably to many, who care a lot less than me, It sounds decent. It sounds as though they had a decent musical idea, and musically it was being represented pretty well. What actually causes this to become a landmark clusterfuck in the history of the world is the fact that it's One Direction that sings it. 4 albums in, One Direction is still singing songs like this. The biggest calamity here is the fact that there is absolutely no musical growth. This is something that could be considered landmark within all of pop music of this generation. This is something that can be considered a pop staple throughout history. But you can hear manifestation points, you can hear growth points within the musical structure of songs from all the great classic pop artists. Stevie Wonder is a great example. You saw him, go from 2 to 3 minute long, very, very short, very, very quick songs to more dynamic, more rich tracks on albums such as Music From My Mind. We're not hearing that from Up All Night to 4 from One Direction. And it's because this has been spearheaded as a movement. A 3-year movement now, since 2011, whenever Bieber was just starting to lose his grip. And it's one where you have to give them exactly what they expect for that period of time, for as long as you can ride that tide. And now that it's finally getting to the point where the boat ride is over, they're just continuing to do it until it's done. Happened with the Spice Girls. Never happened with NSYNC. Never happened with the Backstreet Boys. They broke up before that could happen. It's happened with Bieber, and now it's happening with One Direction because 5 Seconds of Summer has taken over. One Direction, I hope you've enjoyed your time in the spotlight. I know that it's made you a lot of money. You've no doubt had a lot of high-profile things happen to you. You've no doubt made a lot of young girls cry and made a lot of young girls happy. Young boys probably wish that they were you. That way they could get young girls, young pussy, young 13-year-old teeny twat. But the time is over. The time is done. You no longer need to sing songs like Steal My Girl. Please, for the love of God and for the love of music, grow the fuck up. Grow the fuck up, write some of your own shit, and write something a little more dynamic. One thing that I would deliver to the pop masses is be yourself instead of having people write your shit for you. This is getting a bit ridiculous. Which brings us to number 1, Lips Are Movin' by Meghan Trainor. Now, by comparison to All About That Bass, Title, Dear Future Boyfriend, anything that was found on the Title EP, the 4 tracks that were on it, Lips Are Movin' is actually a step in the right direction. This doesn't feel as though she's assaulting the minds of men, of skinny chicks, of people who aren't giving her what she wants. It instead feels like this is one that's supposedly about liars, or supposedly just about people who talk. Which is an easier message to really get behind, considering instead of it being really kind of very philosophically a high horse, it's instead one that's a little bit simpler, something a lot more relatable. The problem is that Meghan Trainor is the person who's singing it. Her style, her requirement of having this kind of, throwback to the 60s is unnecessary. And it really brings down everything. Her voice also does the same thing. She doesn't have a very great voice. It's not one that really commands your attention. It's not one that really deserves a second look. Her lyrical content is very, very much a very distinct fault. Creative lines that we have heard from the past are not present on this track at all, which is a thankful thing, because creative lines such as, I'm bringing booty back, you skinny bitches, whatever the fuck the line is, are not necessary. All About That Bass, no treble, means nothing. It's meaningless. It's just in the track as a colorful little hook, and it's an earworm. Lips Are Movin' is not an earworm. Lips Are Movin' is a follow-up track. It's a follow-up song. It's one that is meant purely to just continue with the success. And also help her by being a single that was not on the Title EP. That way it could sell her LP, her full length, a lot more. By assaulting our eardrums with a new Meghan Trainor song, one that you can't find yet, it encourages the sales and the purchase of the full-length album, even though that people already have 4 songs from that album on a separate album, an EP. That's all the more it is. It's an atrocious song. It's terrible. Once again, showing the world. And this is something that's very similar with a group such as LMFAO, where every single track that they put out had something insanely irritating, but it was an earworm. That's all pop music is. Pop music is finding an earworm and exposing it to the world. That way the world will catch the earworm. That's why many people call pop music a disease, because earworms are very much considered like tapeworms, like a disease. Lips Are Moving is a disease. Meghan Trainor is easily one of the worst artists I've ever had the displeasure of hearing. And I hope that her career is short-lived. I hope that her career is something that explodes in a magnificent, magnificent fireworks show of shit. I hope that it's something where every single thing that she attempts to champion and every single person that she belittles through championing it comes back to haunt and destroy her. I don't hate her as much as Iggy Azalea, but it's close. And the sad part is that in 2014, successfully 2 people, Iggy Azalea and Meghan Trainor, have affected me and grew to gain my bane in higher amounts than Taylor Swift. That's an accomplishment that you don't want to be a part of. For those of you who are expecting to hear, such as the Selena Gomez song, it was a good pop song. Ariana Grande song, that was also good. I'm a bit biased, but the song itself actually showcases that she has a lot of range, as most of her songs do. Uptown Funk also was one that many people probably figured would be on here. It's a Mark Ronson song with Bruno Mars, but I like the throwback to the 70s. It reminds me of getting a nice strong singer such as Bruno doing a track that easily could have been perhaps a part of the Random Access Memory idea from Daft Punk. Remember how Daft Punk was able to make that electronica album that really showcased a lot of what disco and Euro disco was all about? It definitely has that feel to it, only instead of it being Euro disco or, modern disco, it just had 70s funk to it. So Uptown Funk being the title of it made a lot of sense. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. 10 terrible tracks off of Now 53. I need a drink. Why is this camera still on? Fuck you.